excited to bring on Matthew Nelson for this podcast. He has a lot of experience in entrepreneurial finance and has even built his own business and sold it. Welcome, Matthew Nelson.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the venture that you started and how you went from the beginning to the sale?
Yeah, okay. I'll try and keep it somewhat brief, but yeah, Reflex Media started in 2021 with my partner Lucas Coles, who you guys know, and yeah, I guess at first kind of I had like a bit of a background in this space. I had a podcast similar to this and my own personal brand called Matthew's Millions for a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of how I got some like contacts in the industry and kind of like met a lot of these CEOs of junior mining companies, particularly located in Vancouver. And at the same time, Lucas was starting his Canada Stock social media page, which was at like a pretty perfect time in the market because it was right during COVID. And I don't know, there's a lot of like investor sentiment and the market was pretty hype. So yeah, I don't know. We thought this summer like it might be worth trying out to see if people would be willing to get like features on Lucas's page and yeah, I guess kind of highlight their companies. We'd seen some pages do it already, so we thought we could too. And Lucas's page was growing pretty fast at the time as well. So that's kind of how it initially started. And then obviously like we do it in the summer and during the school year, kind of like it's hard to grow it during the school year. So that was probably it was just that for the first year, and then our second year in 2022, we grew it to like two more American finance platforms, Stock Momentum and Equity Researching. And from those three pages, yeah, it was kind of just like grinding content and like I don't know, the key to our business, like it sounds easier. I feel like I'm making it sound pretty easy, but like it was really like a lot of like repetition and finding like the right content strategies. Like it's not just so much as like, just starting a page. Like, I don't know, we were able to get like millions of views on some of our posts, which, definitely caught a lot of like client retention. And yeah, it was just kind of like perfecting like the social media formula for like finance content over and over again until we were like pretty satisfied with it. And yeah, I guess by the end, we had a network of just over 250,000 followers like across our three channels. We've worked probably with over 30 companies in like the junior mining market, mostly some like tech and some like renewable energy ones as well. And yeah, at one point we were managing marketing budgets worth like 40,000 because we'd use like various other strategies like Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising and like SEO advertising. And yeah, that's kind of the short summary of it.
That's awesome. And something that comes to mind is you mentioned that it was growing very fast at the beginning. And you also mentioned that finding the formula to make it work. So my question is, how were you able to build the credibility and what was this magic formula to grow and to reach thousands of viewers?
Yeah, like it's really no like one thing that really makes it stand out. It's kind of like a factor of like a whole like set of things. Like you gotta have like a perfect like hooked and script. You gotta have like a really fast intro that's like 5 seconds and it needs to like attract people's attention right away with the hook. It's like a bunch of kind of little things that you learn over time that gradually like improve your content. And like the number one thing is like retention and like just kind of making sure people like actually give a shit about your video and want to watch it. So yeah, like obviously building trust with a network definitely helps as well. And like obviously we tried to recommend like the best stocks we could to our followers always because like you want to build a loyal following down the line. And also like we were recommending clients as well, so it didn't hurt if followers like followed some of our buys. But yeah, just like making sure you recommend good stuff and just making sure your videos like are actually worth watching and people will be willing to pay attention within kind of like the first 5 to 10 seconds. And then kind of the rest of that, you can kind of just make sure you're a good editor and you know how to write a good script. Is kind of what we found out.
And to the point of just presenting valuable stocks, how are you able to differentiate between what makes a good stock or what's just a stock that you have no hope in?
Well, like, are you referring to more blue chip or penny stocks?
Well, if this strategy changes between the two, then I'd love to hear that thought and thesis as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess starting with blue chips, like I don't know if like yeah, I'm not like an expert investor or anything, first of all, but like I don't know, at least what has worked for me like somewhat successfully is just like finding valuable companies that have like taken a recent dip in the market, like I don't know, valuable blue chips that like can kind of stand the test of time, but are just having like a poor like I don't know recent financial performance. There's something like that. Like I don't know, for example, like Starbucks is one of the most recent stocks I purchased, and I bought it like while they were struggling with financial issues and kind of I think I bought in late June, and then yeah, like 1 month later, someone took out they hired the CEO from Chipotle to kind of help them out with their financial performance, and the stock went up like 25% a day. So like that's obviously super lucky, but it's just kind of finding I yeah for me it's just been finding blue chip stocks that are really good companies, and like the companies will stand the test of time. They're just going through something that they can probably get out of, hopefully. And for penny stocks, I guess that's what you want penny stocks too, right? Yeah. For penny stocks, I think the number one thing is 100% management. Like a lot of people come into this space and like there's just like kind of a lot of goofballs and like people that think they can just like start a company out of nowhere and like they really don't know what they're doing. And like I don't know, I think probably the only way you're like consistently gonna make money is if you're betting on people that have a proven track record of making companies over and over again, like especially in the mining industry too, because it's so much about like knowing the right context, like knowing the right geologist and that kind of thing. But yeah, like you want to look for people like like Frank Justra, like like Lucas Lundin, like kind of these types of guys that have a proven track record, and they can they proven track record. That's where I'll go with them.
It's interesting you mentioned Lundin, just as an aside, because when I worked in metals mining this summer as well, whenever the Lundins did anything, everyone was paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, especially in like cities like Vancouver, like they're not like big names outside of Vancouver, but like, yeah, those guys, they move some stock in Vancouver.
I guess when a company approaches, or when a company approached you and your company to like work with you guys, was there any criteria that they had to like meet for you to go through with a partnership or an agreement?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. Like a lot of penny stocks too that I'd say will probably do well. It's like marketing does have a big factor to play with it, and like if a company does have a really good story, um, like I don't know, for example, like yeah, like I don't know, like in this was like an example from my cousin, but in like 2019, I was like kind of when Tesla was like kind of getting really ramped up, and Elon Musk needed a lot of lithium, and at the time, like my cousin was setting up like a lithium company, just like a kind of a shell company. They just own like a mine in South America, I think. But Elon Musk like tweeted out, "We need like all the lithium's world to supply Tesla," and like I don't know, the lithium market went crazy, and like the little shell that they had like was able to attract like a huge investor because like he just wanted to be like in the lithium industry. And so now the story was this huge investor has bought onto this lithium asset like at a time of crisis when Elon Musk needs it. So it's just like, and just having like a good story like that can really push a penny stock, like, so that's kind of what we try and look for too. Like one of our biggest clients, B Metals, was they're like their previous founders. Like it's a good stock for sure. Like it's a gold stock. They own gold and copper stock. They own assets in Africa and also Japan. But yeah, like their two co-founders recently founded Bema Gold and B2 Gold, which were two gold companies that had both reached multi-billion-dollar market caps. And so like we knew first of all that content would probably do well because it's like the people that have founded this company have founded two previously billion-dollar companies. But also, like that story kind of speaks for itself as well. Like we obviously know it's a good company. Like I'd be willing to trust a management team of a penny stock, like at least more than most penny stocks. So it's kind of just like a combination of good story and also I would say management team for sure too. That was a big one for us.
That's interesting because I don't really take into account like how good a story or how important a story is in like a company's.
Yeah, like marketability is like a huge thing for the penny stocks, I would say.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and so it's also interesting because right now we're both in this club at Western called Richmond Capital, and I'm on the metals and mining team. And when I'm looking for stocks and when I talk to people in the industry, they always mention, especially for copper, and I know it's a little bit different goal, but it's like 60% team, 40% luck. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
so combining the two of the team and this like luck of like there's a push for a specific commodity that
mhm.
it's able to build that story. So it definitely I can understand how pushing the story would be impactful in the stock momentum.
Yeah, like it's honestly a pretty crazy market, like the penny stock market, like especially in Vancouver. I feel like a lot of people our age actually like really don't know a lot about it, but it's pretty exciting, honestly. Like, I don't know, it's like some crazy stuff happens. Like, I don't know, have you guys ever heard of a company called Hypercharge?
No.
Okay, well, it's based out of Vancouver, North Van, and it's they were buying up like electric vehicle charging stations, like just different gas stations and whatnot. And they got like some guy to make a YouTube video on them this summer. And the YouTube video, like I don't know, it was like some like economic like YouTube video from like whatever, like I don't even know what type of page it was, but like kind of like one of those like niche like economic pages. And the video ended up getting like 6.2 million views in like 3 weeks, and like the stock surged like 800%. It was like crazy. So it's just like stuff like that can happen, and it's like it's just insane, honestly. Like that's probably that's pretty. That one's like a little unethical, obviously, and like I'm not involved in that at all. But it's just like crazy in the market. Like some stuff like happen all the time.
For sure. So do you have a favorite sort of stock story that you've been involved with?
Oh, like nothing that I've been involved with has gone like too crazy, unfortunately. Like I don't know. I've done the ones that I have some stock in right now. I have one in like a carbon credits deal right now. I have a few in that, and then but that one's still private. And that's kind of really the only one I have right now. It's only private because I probably would take my money out if I could, and then but it's private, so I gotta wait. Um, but yeah, that's really the only thing I got right now. Like I don't know. My first like what excited me about this space, I guess, and like I don't know. My cousin, I have like a lot of credit this too because he's like a pretty big guy in this space, I guess. Tommy Humphreys. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him or whatnot, but what really excited me about this space was like I probably won it at a pretty good time, but it was like 2020, 2021, and the commodities market had like a little surge up. It had a little spike back when kind of COVID was first starting. And I don't know, I invested in penny stock. I think I put like $1,000 like on my cousin's advice, and it turned into like 5K in like 2 weeks. It's pretty exciting, man. I was like, no way. So that kind of like that kind of hooked me on it right away.
No, I've definitely been there. I also had a similar story of when I first got into investing, and then now it's been it's like it's tough. It's trying to chase that first initial jump always, and it's
Yeah,
tough. If you don't get that jump again, you even if you get a good return, you weirdly feel sort of let down because you're like, oh, first time I did it, I got like a 200% return, and now all I'm doing is getting this measly 20% return. You're
yeah, yeah. I've been riding the high ever since. So
how did you go about the selling process? When they reached out, what was it that you decided to, yeah, this is it, should sell now. It's a good opportunity to get out, or and just along the lines of that. And what exactly did the process look like to sell it?
yeah. So first of all, when we decided we wanted to sell the business in July this summer, Lucas and I, and yeah, like I don't know, we've been doing it for like 3.5 years at that point, and it was always a bit, I don't know, it was a bit disappointing when we had to go back to school and kind of put the business on pause, and we kind of just didn't want to have to go through that again, especially because it was fourth year. Like I don't know, we're probably graduating. There's a good chance we could be doing something else in like a pretty short time. So we thought it'd be a good time to sell. We were proud. We were proud of it at that point. And yeah, so we actually reached out to people first. They didn't really reach out to us, but yeah, pretty much just reached out to like the different media companies and kind of groups in Vancouver. Obviously, like we knew some contacts that we had talked to throughout our years of operations. But yeah, I was just kind of reaching out to our contacts and seeing like what was out there if people had any interest. And it kind of came down to two different groups, which was CEO.ca or Earth Labs, the parent company that eventually bought us, and Market One. And yeah, like I don't know, it was like pretty simple for us, to be honest. Like obviously there was like a bit of negotiation. Like I mean, we didn't get our first offer, obviously, like what we asked for, but we were able to kind of come to a number that we were both happy with, and I think like Lucas and I as well. And yeah, like it's a pretty simple process from then on. Sign a few documents. Ours, we got some shares as well of the Earth Labs company, and yeah, now we still work as a consultant for them, so we still kind of help them out in the business a little bit and kind of make sure our pages are heading in the right space, or sorry, right way. Um, yeah, that's about it for that. I don't have any like crazy negotiation tactics.
And was the decision essentially mostly weighted on price of what they were going to purchase at, just between the two companies you mentioned, or was it to see what company thought had the best vision for Reflex Media to continue?
Yeah, it was definitely price for us. Like,
No,
probably 80-20 price, but obviously we did care about our pages, but and like that's why we're still doing what we're doing now. Like we're helping them out and we're still growing with them. But yeah, like I don't know, the only decision that we really had to make. So we got two offers. One was a full cash offer, and one was a cash offer with shares as well. And like the shares one was a bit more, but obviously some came with shares, so that was, I guess, a decision for us. But we had opted with the one that one with shares and cash over just a straight cash offer. Yeah, I guess that was really the only big decision we had to make of that process, and we probably did that. I don't know. We felt somewhat confident with the stock, and we only have a 3-month holding period on the stock too, so we didn't think it would really drop down too much. Since when we have to, like, I don't know, we're probably going to sell most of it at the time when our holding period expires. But
I think where mine goes next is how did you guys come up with a value for your own company? So like obviously you have a price in mind that you want to sell it at. Like how did you come up with that value, and how did you get down to whatever the selling value is?
yeah, it's a good question, because like our company was pretty much based out of like it was mostly tangible assets. Like obviously we had like financial performance. We had like what we earned last year in revenue and what we did, and all those kind of sort of numbers. But yeah, so like we had like most of our thing was tangible assets. Like that was what they were actually buying, and I guess like a bit of our clientele as well. But in total, we had 6 social media pages, again, like 250,000 followers. And yeah, like I would probably say, I don't know, like it was what we kind of thought our business could do if it was running full time, because that was also like a big thing for us too. Like we never was really able to like 100% commit to it for like an extended period of time. But like we honestly, like the potential, like I don't know, the way we kind of proposed it was like there was like massive potential here. I'm like, yeah, obviously, like and if someone were to do this full time, like you could really make like X amount of money in a year. Um, and that sort of thing. Because there was people in the space that were doing it full time and that were making like a certain amount of money, but we just didn't really have like, I don't know, yeah, I guess we just didn't really have like enough time to fully commit during the school year to get to that point. And like I don't know, our videos were probably like in most cases a lot better than these people's, and like kind of our pages were more just got more like interaction with our followers. So I guess it was kind of valuing based on what other businesses in this space do, and like a combination of our financial sheet and just where our pages were at the moment and how many followers and views we were getting.
Did you guys do that valuation just in-house, or did you get an external company to help you value what you think your company was worth?
We didn't get an external company, but obviously, like I don't know, Lucas and I both kind of consulted, like obviously our parents, and then I don't know, I have a few like cousins and whatnot in the business space as well, and so it's kind of just like consulting, just the personal sources that we knew. But obviously, like I don't know, we get our first offer that because they were like, it kind of went like we'd be interested in selling our business, and they were like they just responded with what would the price be, and so I don't know, we kind of aimed pretty high at the start, but then
Yeah,
might as well. But
100%. My dad has this thing. he likes to do when he's looking at trying to price things. He calls it offer to learn, and essentially he just throws out a number, and based on sort of the reaction as well. Not that this is the best advice, but it can help you tell what other people sort of value your company at as well to get an idea. So I'm sure with Earth Labs as well, when you sent out that first offer, you had an idea of, okay, wait, this is probably around where they value it at, and can base or alter based on their reaction.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, we didn't like throw a price out. You're like, okay, like, fuck off. But like, we didn't do anything like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, definitely kept that in mind for sure.
I guess next thing is, do you have any advice for other people who are like looking to get into an entrepreneurial venture? Like, I guess you guys started early in high school, but for someone like looking to get into it now in college per se, what advice do you have for someone that wants to start their own thing?
Yeah, I would just say like it really is. It's like it takes time for sure. You just gotta kind of learn your industry. Like, be willing to commit to something that, like, I don't know, you could see yourself kind of giving, like, caring about for the next like year or two, because it really just is trial and error and just like kind of seeing what works. Especially if, like, I don't know, for me it's like my thing was a bit different. It's like it's not a product or like kind of like a big asset or anything like that. For me, it was just a services industry based on like the services that I could provide clients. So for me, it was a lot of trial and error, seeing what works. Obviously, make sure you have like a good partner if you want to do a business with, which I was fortunate to have. Um, and yeah, just like, I don't know, you just gotta like, for me, there's really like, it's simple. You just gotta kind of work hard, figure out what works, and kind of keep learning. Like, that's really the best advice I could give, I would say. Like, that's really what it's about.
And did you have a mentor through this whole process?
Yeah, I definitely did. There's a lot of people that were pretty helpful in like this process to me. Definitely one person I could talk about, I've already mentioned, is my older cousin Tommy Humphreys. But yeah, he was like honestly very similar, like kind of career path that I wanted to go on. He started. I don't. Do you guys know the site CEO.ca?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he started that. He founded that. But like, I don't know, he kind of got into like the finance media space a little bit. Like, started CEO.ca, used that as like a platform to kind of provide value to billionaires, and like, I don't know, yeah, provide values to billionaire because he had this media source, and so by that he kind of got into like venture capital a bit. And so I don't know, he like had a very similar career path that I wanted to aspire to be. And so yeah, he was a huge mentor like throughout the process.
Last thing we kind of want to touch on is what are next steps for you? I know you mentioned private equity you want to get into. Like, what kind of industry do you want to go to? Do you want to stick with like the metals and mining kind of thing that you did with Reflex, or what do you want to get into next?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't know. I really have kind of no idea, to be completely honest. But like, I don't know, like there's a few options in my mind that sound pretty good. Private equity, like, I think I could enjoy that, and that's kind of, I would say, is probably my number one spot where I would like to get a job or an internship as of right now. Um, Also like private credit, like, I don't know, I've been looking at a few firms there as well. Ideally, like, I land a job in like Vancouver, like, I don't know, maybe Toronto or something like that. I'd like to stay in Canada. But yeah, I guess that's probably the first option for me. That kind of sounds the smartest. And then yeah, I guess if that doesn't work out, I would like eventually in my life, I definitely want to do something with entrepreneurship again. I don't know when that time is going to happen, but at this point, I'm exploring the job market, I would say.
Your LinkedIn, I saw you went down on one of the mines. What
Oh
was
yeah, that was super cool. Yeah,
the experience like?
yeah, that was super cool. That was West Red Lake Gold that I checked out. It's a pretty cool story actually. So like my cousin that I'm talking about that I've mentioned a few times, like he texted me like, so he's like, he knows Frank Jusha. He's like a pretty good friend. Like, I don't know, he's done business with him before and that sort of thing. You guys know who that is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, he texted me like the night before. He was like, like at like 10 at night, he was like, me and Frank Jusha and some guys are taking a private jet to West Red Lake Gold mining site tomorrow morning. You want to come? And I was like, yeah, yeah, I want to. Yeah, I want to come. So, So yeah, like I don't know, I flew on Frank Juicer's private jet out there. It was all the way in Ontario. It took us about 2.5 hours to get there. It was like a super fast jet. And yeah, I spent 2 days there at a hotel with like some mining guys like my cousin knows. It was pretty fun. Like I don't know, we checked out the mine, obviously. It was the private jet was cooler.
See, that's awesome. That's the type of stuff you won't get to experience if you go back into the corporate world.
Yeah, I don't know. That was super lucky, and I'm very fortunate I got to do that. That was super cool. But yeah, like I don't know. I eventually did. We actually did some work with West Red Lake Gold in the future. Like I wrote a few like articles about kind of my experience there because I don't know. Like I wanted to kind of show the guy that I could provide some value, like Juice that I could provide some value. So like I don't know. I did a few posts about them, like kind of filmed some of my time there. Wrote a few articles about them, that sort of thing. So like didn't make a complete waste of it.
Any last piece of advice that we haven't touched on that you think will be valuable to let the people know?
Yeah, here maybe I can try and get like a good clip or something here. The number one thing, no, I don't know. Honestly, like kind of just repeating what I've been saying. Like the best thing, like from what I've learned and kind of my process starting new business, like I don't know, just work hard. Like make sure you're providing value to people. Kind of master your craft and just like repetition. Learn from your failures. Be a nice guy and kind of that can take you a long way, I think. Just kind of doing those things and continuing on, being consistent. And yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it.
But was there a common theme that you realized across all these billionaires of their mindset or the way they approached tasks?
A lot of it was luck. You'd be surprised. Like a lot of it was actually like a lot of it they would contribute to luck because most of them. Tom Glari's a bit different because he like kind of took over his father's real estate company. But like the guys like I don't know, Chip Wilson, for example, like his big thing was like spotting a market trend early. That's kind of what he preached about and like kind of yeah, just how he did that and how he got lucky with it. And obviously like I mean that kind of like hard work of course and there's a lot more that goes into it than that, obviously, but that was kind of like the big thing that he preached. Yeah, I don't know, like it was a while ago that I did these, so like I can't even like truly remember it too well, but probably most of what I've probably yeah, I don't know, probably similar to what I've kind of tried to been saying here, like hard work, consistency, that sort of thing.
Yeah, listening to some of these great billionaires speak, it seems like a lot of it is, as you just mentioned, is putting in that hard work so that when that opportunity comes around, then you're well positioned to just take it.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Yeah, exactly like that. Kind of make sure you put in like the groundwork so that when your time comes, you're ready to take advantage of it,
Then you'll be that 10-year overnight success. Is that
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's awesome. We really appreciate you joining us today.